In the age of modern AAA gaming, where games release as buggy and incomplete messes at the price of $60 to $70 a copy, with the addition of microtransactions that cost upward of $20 or more, many people, including myself, are starting to become disillusioned with the current gaming landscape. The most recent example that comes to mind is DICE's newest Battlefield game, Battlefield 2042, which released in a piss-poor state, loaded with bugs, cut content, and predatory monetization. DICE claimed Battlefield 2042 would be a return to the style of old Battlefield games, promising the return of popular maps and gameplay mechanics, yet they fell ridiculously short of the mark. Integral mechanics of the game, such as shooting your weapon, didn't work, as bullets would just spray out of the barrel of your gun when the game first released, and Levolution was removed entirely, except for a few set pieces that were set to be destroyed through environmental effects after a certain amount of time passed in the game. Classes were replaced by specialists, characters that act more like heroes from a hero shooter instead of an archetype that's supposed to synergize with whatever classes your team chooses in order to achieve victory. As large gaming companies continuously take out chunks from games to sell it back to the consumer at exorbitant prices, like map packs and skins, newer, smaller developers are beginning to see the gaping hole in people's hearts and attempt to create something that would fill that niche. That's where the developers of Battlebit Remastered come in. Battlebit Remastered was created by 3 developers, and compared to the studio of DICE, which has about 200 to 500 developers, according to Glassdoor, puts them to absolute shame. Battlebit is a fast-paced squad shooter that feels like a mix of Squad and Battlefield, and it does right what DICE failed to do. It's not a game that does anything different or innovative, but it does what it set out to do pretty well. Even though this game looks like Roblox, I honestly ended up preferring the art style of the game, as it allows for better visibility even in the thickest of fights, unlike in Battlefield, where the high fidelity graphics actually obscured what you could see. Battlebit satisfies the player base by including a variety of classes ranging from the assault, sniper, support, and medic, all which have their own different sets of guns, armor, and deep customization at the low price of $15. Battlebit also offers a supporter pack that gives a variety of skins for $20, which I actually believe is a value buy if you really enjoy the game. In Battlebit, you can modify your weapons as how you see fit, on the fly, while observing the stat changes that affect the weapon, with the equipment that you decide to choose. Do you want a gun that can reload quickly to keep the pressure on the enemy team? How about a rifle with low recoil and high bullet velocity that's able to stand toe-to-toe against snipers at mid-range? If you want to stand out from other players on your team, you can also choose to change the look of your character and the armor that you're using, sacrificing protection and ammo for speed to cover the ground as fast as possible. Secondly, the game allows for the complete destruction of the environment, changing the landscape in which the battle takes place. You can transform the environment, giving you and your teammates sightlines to the enemy that previously weren't there before, enabling you to establish a more secure foothold to repel the enemy team. Or you can blow up enemies' cover and leaving them exposed to a hail of gunfire. I've had matches where the environment is completely filled with skyscrapers and buildings, and by the end of the game, the whole map was changed through player actions, leaving only rubble and ruin, which is something a large portion of the fans of Battlefield missed when it wasn't implemented in the newer Battlefield games. Thirdly, Battlebit also gives players access to information that the developers over at DICE took out for the sake of accessibility, like allowing you to see a detailed leaderboard and giving players access to proximity VoIP and squad VoIP, which leads to some pretty funny moments between players. I've been playing this game for about 70 hours and counting, and I've been thinking to myself, what's the special sauce to this game that keeps me playing? And why is Battlebit such a hit, garnering a whopping 80,000 players and counting? Well, as I stated before, this game really scratches the itch of big battles that recent incarnations of Battlefield failed to do. Battles feel huge as players establish a front line, each side duking it out in order to gain an advantage against one another in order to achieve the goal of complete domination, where teamwork is incentivized through squad gameplay. The support suppresses enemies through heavy firepower combined with the sturdiest armor in the game, and they have the ability to give ammo to other soldiers to keep them well supplied. The medic keeps soldiers alive through healing and reviving allies with bandages, a limited resource that can be replenished through the support's ammo boxes. The sniper locates and picks off targets at a distance, making an opening in the front line, and the assault opens up new sight lines with the power of the sledgehammer that only the assault class gets, although C4 can break walls as well, but with none of the precision. Finally, engineers excel at disabling and destroying enemy vehicles with the rocket launcher that only they have access to. The game also boasts 3 different game sizes, which is 32 versus 32, a smaller, more infantry-focused mode, 64 versus 64, a balanced mix of chaos on the battlefield, or 127 versus 127, a hugely chaotic game mode that has shit hitting the fan at every single moment. While I am giving this game 2 huge thumbs up, let's talk about some of the gripes that I have about Battlebit. Personally, I give the developers some leeway since it's still a $15 game made by 3 people, but it should be stated either way, so let's get right into it. First off, I personally think that the time to kill in this game is a little too low even with the implementation of armor, but this is honestly more of just a personal preference of mine. You can be killed within a split second of seeing someone without having any real way to defend yourself, and its insanely low time to kill also shows some issues with the weapon balancing as well. Why would a player choose a weapon that has a low rate of fire when they can just grab an MP7 and absolutely shred everyone with the amount of damage that it can put out? Since most encounters usually are in close quarters, which is about 50 meters or less, high rate of fire weapons shine above all others in my opinion. The capacity to wipe out entire squads in just one magazine before anyone even clocks that you're shooting at them is pretty glaring. Another issue that I have is the amount of hours that you need to dump in order to unlock other guns. The game offers a lengthy and deep progression system, but it's locked behind a pretty hefty time gate in order to access new weapons. As I said before, I put in about 70 plus hours in this game and I'm ranked 125, but I still haven't unlocked every gun that there is available. And that's after the developers cut all the XP requirements to level up by half. For example, the XP requirements to level up scale up to how high of a level you are. And if you're trying to rank up to 121, you're gonna need 120,000 experience points, which can only be gained through killing, reviving and healing teammates, destroying vehicles, or capturing points with no XP bonus when your team wins. I usually find myself high up on the leaderboard, racking up about 50k EXP points per match, and those matches last anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how evenly matched the teams are. So that means you have to spend about an hour or more to rank up at higher levels. And remember, that's after the XP adjustments were made. There are also some weapons that require you to get up to rank 140 to use them, and you may not even like how the guns feel when you're fighting other people, and you're still going to have to grind to unlock the necessary attachments to improve the effectiveness of your gun. Although, even with the amount of time you need to spend getting new gear, it does force you to try out what you already have, making you unlock the attachments through gameplay, and allowing you to decide if you really want to stick with the weapon that you're using. Still, it's an amazing game made only by 3 people, and the developers of Battlefield should be looking at Battlebit to find out what improvements could be made in order to ensure the continued longevity of their game, or risk being replaced. There's a lot more comparisons that can be made between Battlebit and Battlefield, but I'm gonna be ending it here since I pretty much said my piece. What do you guys think about Battlebit? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be seeing you guys later.